This is From the Cradle to the Stave. Music Moms Speak.
Mothers of 3 musicians joined forces together to create this podcast.
They see the music industry and music life from a previously unheard point of view. Our mothers truly see and feel the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly of the music world.
They share their experiences with you one episode at a time.
So here it is, From the Cradle to the Stave. Music Moms Speak.
Hello and welcome to From the Cradle to the Stave, Music Moms Speak. We're glad to have you. I'm Juanita Smith, mother of Eric Erdman.
I'm Pat French, mother of Simone French.
And I am Dottie Armour, mother of Laurie Ann Armour. Our children are local singer-songwriters here on the Gulf Coast, and we are going to bring you a perspective of this music world from our point of view.
And since we've been in music for quite a while, since our children were born, basically, we have quite a point of view.
Yes, we do.
Well, Juanita, why don't you tell us a little about you and how you got to be a music mom?
Well, I guess it came upon me slowly, and I didn't realize it till it was already here. But when Eric was just a toddler, or crawler, really, he would crawl to the end of our kind of elongated living room and sit next to this old box stereo system we had. And we were playing Jim Croce and James Taylor, and he would just sit there, and I couldn't get him to move. He would go crawl back if I moved him from there. But I didn't think much about it. And then when he was 3 years old, he was the ring bearer in his cousin's wedding. And we were at the reception where a band was playing because the groom was in a band. And I looked and I couldn't find Eric. And a second or two later, I saw that he had crawled up on the stage and asked to sing. He didn't have a very big repertoire at the time. He played Zippity Doodah and got down on one knee with his microphone. It was really cute. And then he did the Dukes of Hazzard theme song.
Oh, wow.
So, very impressive. And I still didn't, really associate it as it was, something to let me know what his future would be holding. It just takes a while for me to really understand. And then finally, when he was a teenager, he was playing different instruments. He started off with the violin, and he came in one day, said, "Mother, I'm going to join a band." I said, "I put my foot down. You're not going to do it. I don't want you around the unsavory kind of situations with alcohol and bars and that sort of thing, and just the wrong kind of people and all that." But as I was giving the lecture, I could see all he was thinking about is how can I get a guitar? And that's how it went. I figured, well, I supported him in baseball, so I'll support him in music. The thing is, I have to say, some of the most wonderful people that I know today I met in those same places I was condemning and saying they were unsavory and bad. So I was speaking from ignorance.
Mm-hmm. Maybe not ignorance, maybe just a concerned mom.
Well, lack of knowledge.
Yeah. Or lack of experience. And you have plenty of that now.
Right.
Because I know you follow Eric to nearly every show that he plays.
I do.
At least locally.
Yeah, locally, and even some parts of the region. And, well, yes, I have followed him to Mexico now twice, too. But if he goes very far away, and he's played in Europe and Australia and those kind of places, I just don't know if I could handle that long a flight and that much distance between me and my world.
Yeah, that is a little big leap.
But it's been exciting so far. It looks like it's going to continue to be for a while.
Yes.
Well, Pat, what about you?
Well, with Simone, for a long time, I think we knew Simone was going to be in the entertainment business in some form. Gratefully, it's the good form. Simone has always had an ear for music, dance, just the arts, theater. And so even as a little girl, walking around with a brush and singing Cher and Melissa Etheridge and Bonnie Raitt, whom she loves and adores, it was like we knew there was a gift. But the funniest thing about it is she had stage fright for years, and she just could not bring herself to get on stage during high school years. But luckily, that love of music, grew because that passion is there. And as you guys know, if they have it, they have it. It just doesn't die because they're not performing. And so once she started, got over the stage fright and started performing, then it's like, oh, she really does have a great sound. She has a gift. And so just to make the songs come alive, to reach the audience. And so it's still kind of new, and she's starting to play more instruments now. But I just think early on we knew as a baby, oh, she has something. And so we watched it grow and watch her nurture it. And so it's exciting. It's exciting to, just watch her wings just grow and watch her fly.
And I can say you are her biggest fan, because I have seen you following her around and at her shows.
Yes.
And you are just, you are her number one fan.
Even in sports, I was always, mom's got to be front and center. Mom, you got to be there. It's fine if dad's not there, but you've got to be there. And that's just, wanting her to know that she has someone who's rooting for her. Mm-hmm. I'm right with you. I may not be on stage with you, but I'm there.
Mm-hmm. I know I've talked to several musicians who have played some locations, and they say a lot of the times they're playing to the bartender and the wait staff, so I know how important it is to Simone to have at least one other person sitting there appreciating the music.
Absolutely. Erica said, I remember playing at this place called Head's Old Bar, and Mom was the only one there besides the bartender. Exactly. But, that's as when we first started playing solo, and first few gigs like that, people didn't really know what it was, and wasn't much advertisement or anything. But I know you want to tell us about Lorianne.
Goodness, yes. She... I can remember when she was in preschool and they did their little performance end of the year thing, and her voice to me, of course I'm the mom, but her voice to me just stood out from everyone else's. And I asked the teacher who was leading the music and the performance, and I said, is it my imagination, or is there something a little different there? And she says, oh, you're right. There is something different there. And Lorianne has liked to perform kind of out of character. And I mean, she did in middle school and elementary school, she did all the little talent shows. I mean, that was just her thing. And when she got in high school, she was always telling me when she grew up, she wanted to be a rock star.
Wow.
And I was like, of course you do. Let's see where you're going to college and what career you can do. But that was what she said. I just want to be a rock star. And when she actually started, she's self-taught on her guitar, and some of really a lot of the chords and stuff she taught herself. So they're not traditional fingering, but I mean it works for her. And started writing her own music, and performing at that level is like exposing your soul, when you start performing your own music. Even when she was doing cover songs, it was her. And there was a little bit of a difference than there was in the other talent show stuff. And so she had some stage fright too that she had to overcome.
Wow.
And learning the interaction with the audience. That's such a big part of the difference between an artist and just a performer. You've got to build that relationship. Mm-hmm. And she's done the same thing, like you were saying with Eric at the venue, wherever. She was playing at this particular place, and there were only like 3 or 4 people in the main part of the venue, and they got up and left. So she turned. There were a couple of people sitting at the bar, and it had not been a real good night. So she turned to the bar and started playing to the bar and taking requests. She had the best time.
Wow.
So you play to your audience.
Right.
Well, it's sad when they book them into, and especially when they're starting out. I remember they'd book them into places, and it would be while football was on, and everyone's looking at the TV instead of, and you feel like you're just an annoyance up there on the stage, and it really is kind of soul sucking you might say, for them. And it really, they need a really good listening group after that for their next show to sort of recharge their batteries. It's very sad. Well, actually, one time this lady said, "Hey, could you keep it down up there? We're trying to talk."
I know. That, and that's why I like places like the listening room.
Yes.
Nothing better.
Oh, goodness, to actually hear the music. And I'm not talking down any of the other places.
Right.
Callahan's and Frog Pond and
Mancy's
and I know there are others. I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But
the other night at Mancy's, Friday night, Eric played there. It was very loud, but 90% of the crowd was into the music. That was the loudness that you heard. It wasn't loudness trying to overtalk the sound. It was joining in and excitement. It was awesome. So it doesn't have to be a listening room, but it sure helps if it's a listening room.
It's kind of, I look at it as when I think about when Simone first started with a rock band and where she is now, and you talk about the bars and the loud music and the characters, it's kind of a rite of passage. It's kind of how I look at it. And it's a process that they get through. Because, heck, if they can perform at a bar with a bunch of people not paying attention, it just gives them that training, that experience, basically, on really how to deal with a difficult audience, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them shooting pool and arguing about the pool game while my son's on the stage, singing his heart out. And it's not so much that way now, but gosh, there were plenty of times when it was heartbreaking.
I want to turn around and say, look, could you be quiet and listen? That's my baby up there singing, okay? I would appreciate it.
Well, unfortunately, the establishment offers these other things, and they just throw our musician children or adult children into the mix, and it's not really fair to the patron to be disturbed with them because they didn't necessarily come to see live music.
Exactly.
They may not be into live music. They came to have dinner, to talk with their friends, to shoot pool or watch football, and it's just sad all the way around when it's a situation like that.
It is, but it's to me when the performers or the artists take on the venues like that, especially starting out. Like you said, you got to pay your dues.
Right.
Plus, just starting out, that gives you or gives the artist an opportunity to kind of learn how to present themselves.
Right.
Learn what kind of music they like to play. Practice talking to people that you don't know. And so really, I can't imagine somebody just showing up at the listening room, for instance, and being as polished as someone who's worked their way up through the open mic nights and the bars and the restaurants and the benefits. I can just see how that builds them as an artist.
It really does, and it kind of puts a tough skin on them so that they understand not to take it personal. Hopefully,
Right.
Yes.
It's not the fault of the singer. They're doing everything they were paid to do. And I noticed Eric had a knack for picking out, let me just see if there's one set of eyes looking my way. And I will sing right to them, and I will talk right to them. And he would do that, and it restored his soul a little bit to know that at least that one person heard.
And
That's a great tip.
Yeah, and sometimes that might be Mama.
Yes,
Hello.
that's right.
Hello.
Music room.
Yes.
His mother will give him a standing ovation.
Yeah. And I'm over here in the corner like, yay, baby, go, get louder, get louder, moving my hand motions, as if she can read my lips while she's on stage singing. But, that's part of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't want our children to be discouraged or maybe disrespected and that sort of thing. But we do have to put it in perspective. Those people that are there didn't necessarily, in those places we're talking about, didn't necessarily come to hear music. But so many times we now go to shows and we see the people are listening. We see they're enjoying their music, and it's such a wonderful feeling.
It is. It really is, And I know sometimes now I catch myself, and Simone actually performed with Lorianne a month or so back at Fairhope Brewery. And they did a song which was so beautiful, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. And it was a different take on it. And it was like, people around me were talking, kids were running and playing, and I was still recording, and I was like, could you guys hold it down just a little bit? This is like the best song right now. But it's just great when they do it and it's natural, you know, and they were having so much fun with it. And I was like, look at them too. They're over there singing to each other and playing to each other. But it was a really cool moment. It really was.
Well, one thing about it, when they do covers, I think that all the seasoned musicians that I know, even very high professional ones, will sing a cover occasionally, no matter how many songs they have of their own originals. They'll sing a cover, but they put their own spin on it. Your children do, my son does, and sometimes I hear it so many times from him. If I hear the original person singing it, I think, you didn't get that right.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
That's not
you can
how
do
that
better.
goes. Yeah.
Well, you know, I can't imagine a musician who writes their own music to not perform their favorite songs that they've heard, because those songs have got to have influenced them a little bit, and artists. So you know, that's almost like in honor of, you know, I'm going to do this song in honor of this person who I have such high regard for. Right. So you know, yeah.
I try very hard not to cry when Simone does original songs, because a lot of them, you know, I know the story behind them. And so they're so personable. And like you say, they just bear their soul, you know, when they're up there singing. And so, and I'll just find myself in a moment where I'm like, oh my God, you know, that's so deep. I didn't know you felt that way. And then, you know, she's like, Mom, it's just a song. Don't over dramatize it. But it's just hearing her, you know, tell her story with the music, you know. And it's amazing. You know, it's really amazing to watch. And, of course, we are our children's biggest cheerleaders. And, you know, it's our job to encourage them. And I say children lightly, our adult children. You know, we're you know, we push them. We still push them. You know, you can do more. That's great. And, you know, that's just part of our job, and I enjoy it.
Me too. I mean, just like at the ballpark days, you carried an extra whatever they might need. We all probably have picks in our purse and a capo and whatever else that may be batteries for the cars. Yeah.
Batteries.
Yeah, I mean, that's why my purse is so heavy.
Exactly. They pick it up. What have you got in this thing? Oh, it's some stuff in there.
That's my gear bag.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, the thing about it is it's a great journey to be on. And, you know, I get to share it with two of the most extraordinary souls, is what I say, with Juanita and Dottie. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a learning experience, because we've been sharing a lot of our life experiences as music moms, and just, you know, as women who love music. And it's been fun. It's been great.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people don't realize that, you know, they think there's not much to it. The person just gets up on the stage and sings or plays and has themselves a good time. But they don't know how many hours of practice went into that. They don't know how many hours they had to work to earn the money to buy that equipment that they're using. And they don't understand some of the really disappointments that go along with it. So there's the good, the bad, and the ugly in the music industry. And I know we all three know that personally. And it's just an unusual career.
It is. There are a lot of people who have their dream careers, and they put, you know, into education and learning and working. But I don't know that there are many that have the ups and downs that a musician does, and not just ups and downs, but highs and lows.
Right.
Right. It's so personal and so deep. You know, I've had a career for 34 years, but, you know, I don't go to work and bare my soul.
Right.
You know, it's
And nobody says, keep it down up there when you're doing the work.
Yeah, and you know, I can tell that when I've done a good job because I have an end result in my work. But as a musician, you have to be satisfied and comfortable with what you think you've accomplished, because just because people are buying CDs now, they may not next week, or just because people are coming to see you now, they may not next week. So you've got to be a strong person, very grounded. And I think we three have raised three very grounded children. I mean, you can see that in their personalities and in the way they react with people.
Right.
And I think we've done a good job of letting them know that they're somebody special, and helping them with that self-confidence, because that's what you really need.
Right.
To say, okay, so this group maybe didn't think I was that great tonight, or maybe weren't attentive tonight, but I still know I'm okay.
Right. I know I would ask Simone a lot of times, just critiquing, her performance when we were home, and just talking through, well, what about your playlist? And I think one time I asked, I said, who are you singing to? I said, this one song you did. I said, who are you singing to? So it's just, planting a seed for her to think about when she's on stage and she's telling her story and she's reaching an audience, to be mindful of who you're singing to. And I think that comes across too in the songs and just her overall performance, her stage presence, because I think she started in maybe the middle of 2013. And so from that time to now, I can just see where she has really grown. Her confidence level is, it's just it's good. And, the fact that she remains humble, which I'm grateful for, but it's wonderful when you see them on stage and they're smiling, or you can see the joy in their eyes, when someone walks up to them and said, I just love that, that was great. And that it's worth it. You push them, because it is moments like that, that gives them a little bit more faith. Keep going, keep doing what you're doing, keep putting yourself out there and giving these songs, and and so that people can feel them. And because I think, for us who love music, I know for me, when I'm listening, I want to be moved by a song.
Absolutely. I always say it should make you cry, or it should make you really joyful, or it should make you ask why.
Exactly.
It should do one of those three things, and if it's achieved one of those, awesome.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, it's a great journey to be on. It really is. It's tough, but it's good.
Well, talking about listening to music and different kinds of music, that's one of the things we as a group are going to be doing. We are, as the music moms, are going to be going out to different venues and listening to different artists, and then coming back and kind of talking about from a music mom's point of view, kind of, the music we've heard and how it moved us, and try and let you know that the depth of the music in the Gulf Coast, the Mobile Gulf, Mississippi, even Florida Gulf Coast. Right. You cannot say there's nothing to listen to. Just with the variety of the different types of music and the different venues, if you like big crowds, if you like small crowds, if you like outdoor music, benefits.
Right.
There's always, every day of the week nearly, a way to satisfy your music cravings.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to check every kind of music they have to offer in our area and bring it back to our audience so that they can get our spin on what's happening, what we like about this one or that one, so that you can go check them out yourself.
Exactly.
I had my first experience with you ladies at the symphony, and it was wonderful. Oh my God, it was, I thought it was my first, and what two better people to do it with, my first time at the symphony. But it was great. I found myself sitting on the edge of my seat, almost crying, because it was so relatable. And, I went, to be honest with you, with low expectations. And I left so full because it was just so much joy in hearing this different kind of music. And so we hope to bring you more moments like that, as we progress in our journey with the Music Moms.
Okay. Well, ladies, is there anything else we want to add on our introduction? I know when we start broadcasting our regular podcast, we'll be going a little more detail into the different groups and bands and venues and stuff. Is there anything y'all want to add to it?
Well, I think that this music world we're in is made up of so many people that sometimes people don't realize that it's not just the parents of the musicians, their friends, but everybody plays a part, like the venue owners.
Right.
We will discuss some of that sort of thing and what their venue has to offer compared to others. And you may decide you want to go to something that maybe is in a listening room sometime and hear the extra excitement and the noise. Or if you really genuinely want to hear the words and the song and want an intimate evening with the artist, then the listening room is the way you should go. But we're going to talk about all of them. And so it's the venues, the owners of the venues, and what they have to offer, as well as all the local musicians and regional musicians.
Right.
And the symphony was made up, as you mentioned, it's fantastic, but it's made up from people all over the nation.
Right.
And it was quite an interesting experience as well. So, yeah, we're going to talk about all those sort of things at one time or another.
Yeah.
Talking seems to be our thing.
Yes, yes.
We can do that.
Yeah. I want to just encourage Mobile, the surrounding areas, of course, or if you're in Mobile visiting, support your local musicians. It's so very important. There's so much going on in the music scene in the Gulf Coast, and it's almost like it's an explosion and of just new up and coming artists, and it's a huge variety, and I think there's something for everyone, and I just think the music is so relatable on so many different levels.
That's right. And another thing, like you say, support your local musicians. If you go to a show, buy a CD, buy a T-shirt,
Right.
Throw a tip in the tip bucket. They show them that you appreciate them, so they'll continue. And other supporters. You talked about the venues and the artists themselves. Well, there are other people behind the scenes in the music industry in this area who are just so important to the thriving business that it is.
Absolutely.
And we're going to touch on a few of them also.
Right. We have some recording studios here that are world class, that are
Yes.
awesome. One that's relatively new, and then others that have been around a little while. But they're also part of this music industry, and of course they'll be addressed as well. We might even maybe take a tour of some of them and do our podcast on it.
Great. Yeah.
And then there are I can't think of the name for it. Philanthropists, I guess you would call them. People who follow the musicians, who support them, just because they want to support the music industry here in the area.
Right.
Great idea. That's true. There are, and there's some we all know
Right.
that
Right.
really are
Yes.
so supportive of ours and everyone else's child that's a musician.
Yeah, and local radio stations
Oh, yeah.
who actually focus on local music. They have
Right.
specific times so there's a lot of support for the music industry here in this area that you just don't think about.
And we plan to address them all.
Yes. We're going to educate you.
Make you laugh, maybe make you cry, but we're going to have fun doing it.
Make you ask why.
All righty. So thank y'all for listening today. And ladies, thank y'all for being here. This has been fun. If any of you listeners have any questions or suggestions for topics, or you just want to say hello, you can find us on the web. We're at FromTheCradleToTheStave.com, or by email. That's Juanita, Pat, or Dottie at FromTheCradleToTheStave.com. Okay.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Bye now.